Have you ever met someone who apologizes when someone else bumps into them? Or someone who stays up until 3 a.m. helping a friend through a breakup, even though they have an important meeting the next morning? Maybe you are that person. The one who feels a deep, almost physical ache when someone around them is struggling. The one who says, yes, before the question is even finished. The one who carries the emotional weight of every room they walk into. If that sounds familiar, you might belong to a very specific psychological profile, people who feel responsible for everyone and everything. These are the perpetual caretakers, the emotional shock absorbers of the world, the ones who believe, consciously or unconsciously, that if they don't hold everything together, it will all fall apart. Today, we're going deep into the psychology behind this trait. Where it comes from, why it feels so impossible to turn off, how it affects your mental health, your relationships, and even your physical body, and most importantly, what you can do if you recognize yourself in this description. Part 1. What does it really mean to feel responsible for everyone? At its core, this isn't just being kind or helpful. It's a pervasive belief that other people's emotions, decisions, outcomes, and happiness are somehow your job. Psychologists often link this pattern to several overlapping concepts. Hyper-responsibility, pathological altruism, codependency traits, people-pleasing on steroids, parentification, emotional or actual, in childhood, high empathy combined with poor boundaries. But let's be clear, feeling responsible for everyone goes beyond normal empathy. Empathic people feel with others. Hyper-responsible people feel responsible for others. Here's a quick self-check. Ask yourself, do I feel guilty when someone is upset, even if I had nothing to do with it? Do I rearrange my life to avoid disappointing people? Do I secretly believe that if I just try hard enough, I can fix people's pain? Do I struggle to say, that's not my problem, without intense guilt? Do I take on other people's emotions as if they were my own? If you nodded to most of these, keep listening. You're not broken. You're wired in a very specific way, and that wiring has a history. Part 2. The childhood roots, where this pattern is born. Almost everyone who carries this responsible for the world burden can trace it back to childhood. The most common origins. Parentified children, you were the little adult in the family. Maybe a parent was emotionally immature, addicted, depressed, or chronically ill. From a very young age, you learned that your role was to keep the peace, make mom less sad, stop dad from yelling, or take care of younger siblings. Your nervous system literally learned, if I don't manage everyone's emotions, bad things happen. Unpredictable or emotionally volatile homes, when emotions in the house were a minefield, the child who could read the room and calm everyone down became the family hero. Being the good one, who never caused problems, kept you safe. Over time, that survival skill turned into identity. High sensitivity plus praise for being mature. Many of these individuals were highly sensitive children who felt emotions deeply. When they soothed an upset parent or helped a friend, they received massive praise. You're so mature. You're such a good boy/girl. I don't know what we'd do without you. That praise felt like love. So the pattern got reinforced. Religious or cultural programming. Some were raised in environments that glorified self-sacrifice. Teachings like, carry each other's burdens, turn the other cheek, or family first, always, without the balancing message of self-care, can create adults who believe boundaries are selfish. The result? By adulthood, your brain has a deeply ingrained belief, my worth equals how much I can prevent or fix pain in others. Part 3. The adult manifestations. How this shows up today. Fast forward to now. You're no longer a child trying to keep an alcoholic parent stable, but the software is still running. Common ways this pattern shows up. You feel personally offended when someone doesn't take your advice, because if they're hurting, you failed. You over-explain and over-apologize. You attract needy, chaotic, or emotionally immature people because they sense you'll take responsibility. You have trouble celebrating your own successes because someone else is struggling. You experience empathic distress, physical symptoms when others are in pain, tight chest, nausea, headaches. You secretly resent the people you help, then feel guilty for the resentment. You say things like, I can't rest until everyone else is okay. One of the most telling signs. Anticipatory guilt. You feel guilty for things that haven't even happened yet. You're lying in bed imagining how someone might feel tomorrow if you don't text them back tonight. Part 4. The psychological mechanisms. Why it's so hard to stop. Your brain is not being dramatic. It's following logic that once kept you safe. Mirror neurons on overdrive. Highly empathic people literally feel others' emotions in their own body. Hypervigilance. Your nervous system is still scanning for threats to the emotional environment. Identity fusion. Your sense of self is fused with being the helper. Without that role, who are you? Guilt as a compass. Normal people feel guilt when they've done something wrong. Hyper-responsible people feel guilt when they've done nothing at all, just for having needs. And here's the cruel twist. The more you give, the more people take. This reinforces the belief that you have to keep going, because look, when you stop, people get upset. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Part 5. The hidden costs. What this is really doing to you. This pattern looks noble from the outside. From the inside, it's exhausting. Mental health impacts. Chronic burnout and compassion fatigue, anxiety, often health or generalized. Depression masked as, I'm fine, everyone else comes first. Resentment that you're ashamed of, loss of personal identity, who am I when I'm not needed? Physical health impacts. Disrupted sleep, can't turn your brain off, autoimmune issues, chronic stress, digestive problems, tension, headaches, and jaw-clenching, adrenal fatigue symptoms. Relationship impacts. You attract takers, not givers. You teach people not to respect your boundaries. You struggle with authentic intimacy, because real intimacy requires vulnerability, not caretaking. You may end up with emotionally immature or narcissistic partners who exploit your tendency. Part 6. The turning point, when good becomes self-destructive. Most people with this pattern don't seek help until one of three things happens. Physical or emotional collapse, burnout, breakdown, or illness, a relationship explosion, a partner or friend finally says, I can't do this anymore, you're smothering me. Hitting resentment bottom, you realize you're angry at the very people you've been killing yourself for. The wake-up call usually sounds like, I've been the strong one for everyone else, but who's strong for me? Part 7. The path forward. How to keep your heart without losing yourself. Healing this pattern is not about becoming selfish. It's about becoming selective. It's learning that love and responsibility are not the same thing. Here are the core shifts that actually work. Redefine responsibility. Responsibility means responsibility, the ability to respond. It does not mean control over outcomes. You are responsible to people, not for them. Learn the difference between empathy and responsibility. Empathy. I see you're in pain and I care. Hyper-responsibility. I must fix your pain or I'm bad. Practice boundaries. Script. Start small. I care about you, but I can't talk tonight. I need rest. I'm not available to help with that, but I believe in you. I'm sorry you're struggling. What are you going to do? Detox from guilt. Guilt is a feeling, not a fact. When guilt hits, ask, would I judge someone else for doing what I'm about to do? If the answer is no, proceed. Build an identity outside of helping. What you like. What makes you come alive when no one is watching? Pursue that aggressively. Your worth cannot only come from being useful. Grieve the fantasy. There's a painful truth to face. You cannot save everyone. Some people don't want to be saved. Some pain is not yours to carry. Letting go feels like failing, until you realize it's freedom. Surround yourself with boundaried people. Spend time with people who respect, who don't collapse when you have needs, who can handle their own emotions. Their modeling will rewire your nervous system. Therapy that actually helps. Look for modalities that address childhood parentification, codependency, patterns, internal family systems, to work with the caretaker part, EMDR for guilt/shame imprints. Closing, a new kind of strength. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to hold the world together is the moment you become truly strong. Not the brittle strength of never needing anything. Not the performative strength of always saying yes. The real strength, the quiet, deep kind, is being able to sit with someone's pain without rushing to fix it. To love someone without managing them. To say, I see you're hurting, and I trust you to handle this, while I take care of me. That is not abandonment. That is respect. You spent years proving you could carry everyone. Now prove you can put the weight down, and still be loved. Because the truth is, people who are truly loved don't need to be fixed. And people who truly love you don't need you to disappear into their needs. You matter. Your limits matter. Your rest matters. Your no matters. The world will not fall apart if you stop holding it together. In fact, it might finally have room to hold you back.